Okay, so hey there and welcome back to another guitar session with Jason Carey. Tonight we're talking about how are we doing over there? Are we seeing any video? I'm going to need some feedback, I guess. There should be a 7-second delay between what I say and what you guys experience. So if you have that funny, if there's a delay, if you're asking questions, and if there's a delay between what I'm saying and what you're asking, there is a little broadcast delay. So we'll just have to get used to that. Other than that, let's get started. So we're basically talking about one of those first songs that we all should know. Sometimes we learn things out of sequence. We just go after the things that we like about the guitar. We should continue to do that. But there's also a sequence of events. There's a series of events that we go through in order to collect a certain minimum amount of technique to get from one place to the next. And so if you're a beginning guitar player and we're sort of just starting out, just trying to figure it out, we're just becoming inspired, this is a great channel for us because we can cover all of those beginning fundamental ideas and concepts on the guitar, because it's a good idea for me to do that, because the more I do that, the deeper I get. I really like to do that because I just get a better understanding of what it is I'm up to. Reinforcing the fundamentals is always a good thing to do, and I would encourage doing that. So before we get really going, I think we're going to start with this song. And maybe you've seen me do this tune before, but if not, this is a great song to start with because everybody does it. Sometimes guitar players play it so much and they don't ever want to play it at another gig again for as long as they live. That's not us. We're just going to keep an open mind. We'll start with a D5 and we start with the open D string 2 times, and we play the B string on fret number 3, and then we play the G string on fret number 2. So D5 is this really nice chord that's been broken apart and arpeggiated. And then we move to the C sus2. The cool thing about this is the second or the third finger is really just going to sit where it is for the entire chord progression. We won't change the third finger, the ring finger. We won't change this bugger out at all. We'll use that third finger in the same place on fret 1, 2, 3 throughout the entire session, okay, or throughout this entire chord progression. So we have that C sus2. We're doing that same 2 bass note downstroke attack. Okay, we have 2 downstrokes plucking toward the ground, and then we can either do this with rest strokes. We can either stop the pick halfway to the next smaller string, or we can do a rest stroke, which is basically stopping on the next smaller string. So we can either stop ourselves prior to getting to the next smaller string, or which is a free stroke, or a rest stroke where we pluck through the string and then rest on the next smaller string. Okay, so it's a lot of words to say, but it's a fairly simple technique, but it can take a little bit to master it. Okay, we're going to do the same 2 upstrokes on fret number 3 on the B and open G. Okay, so we've moved away from the D chord, the D5, which was finger 1 on fret 2. Now we're using the 3rd fret on the A string for the C sus2, and we're going to open up the G string. And then 2nd finger is going to move from 3rd fret on the A down to the 3rd fret on the low E string. play 2 downstrokes there, and again, you can choose whether you want to use the rest stroke or the free stroke. It's up to you. Some songs you have to do one or the other because you can't, you know, sometimes there are passages that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise, but not the case of this song necessarily. I tend, if you watch my right hand, I think I tend to do the rest stroke. Okay, so then we do the 2 downstrokes and then the 2 middle strings in one fell swoop in what's called a double stop. So we're basically playing the 2 strings with 1 downstroke. And that's pretty nice and clean, right? Now here comes the best part, right? The first turnaround. Right, I haven't played this tune for a long time, but it's one of those songs that you play so much when you're younger, and then possibly a lot when you're an adult, when you're moving into your intermediate guitar life. We still play it a lot. We play these chords so much in so many songs that they're very worthwhile learning anyway, and then at least reviewing, okay? So we have that the G, we have the chord progression moving from the D5, the C sus2, and then G5. Then we go into the first turnaround. So we have the open A. Yep, open A, hammer on to fret number 2. And then we're moving, that's all with a downstroke. We're plucking, downstroke, and then hammer on. Okay, so we're plucking 1 time, and then we're hammering on with a 2nd finger. Then we're skipping. Oh, this is another technique that we really need to talk about a little bit if we're beginning guitar players. That's the string skip. So we're skipping over the D string, and then we're playing the open G string with a downstroke. See where we would normally have played an upstroke for that A string on fret 2. Because we're using that hammer-on, we're still going through the motions with the right hand, okay? So this is really important. Down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Down, up, down, down, up, down. Oh, I got it backwards. So we're starting with open A. No string skip yet, but it's coming. Open D. Down, up, down. So we'll go through the motion of the upstroke, even though we're hammering on. Left hand finger, if we don't know what hammer-on is, I'm not sure. Do we have a feel for, do we all know what a hammer-on is? If you want me to explain it. I guess this being our first live stream, I'll take the time to explain it. I may not always do that in the future, but if you have a comment and you'd like to ask, maybe I'll give you a second to ask. Here, my squeaky chair here. And I just take a little sip of beverage. Do you have any questions?
We have an Aaron that was like a 37-minute lesson.
Oh yeah? Let's see. Oh, cool. All right. Hold on a second here. So we have the open A, and then we're hammering on, basically turning that 2nd finger into a hammer, okay? And we're hammering it onto fret number 2. We're literally going to perfect our aim and then get on that string and then come right down on the top of it. And while it's vibrating, usually if you touch the string while it's vibrating with a finger, you know, that will basically, you know, dampen the string. So what we want to do is we want to cut the string off on the fret before it stops ringing. If we go too slowly, then we get this problem here. Oh, not fast enough. If we go quickly enough, we can cut off that string and it will keep ringing. So get that forward roll. Then we're going to play fret 2 on the D string with finger number 3. And we'll pull off. It's the reciprocal technique from the hammer-on, so it's the opposite. So instead of like hammering on, we're basically going to pluck that with an upstroke, and we'll keep pulling down until the string sort of slides out from underneath this 3rd finger. okay? It's kind of like we're just basically plucking with the left hand. Then we're going back to fret 2 on the A, and then we're doing, here's that string skip we've been waiting for. We're skipping the D string this time, jumping up to the G string on fret number 2 with the 3rd finger, the ring finger, and executing another pull off. Alright, so that's kind of a cool technique to play on an acoustic guitar too. The second turnaround, let's get in. If we don't have any other questions right now, why don't we just get right into that? I don't see any other questions popping up yet. So if we do have other questions... Oh, thank you so much. You're very kind. If we do have other questions, we can always pause and take those. But we're going to continue moving on to the second turnaround. So we'll start the second turnaround. We'll start it with an upstroke. Up, down on the G string, up, down. We'll pluck fret 2 and then pull off with finger number 1 back to the open G string. It's an upstroke followed by a downstroke executing fret number 2 on the G and then pull off. Okay, then we're moving to fret number 4 with finger number 3 on the G string. Then we'll move with an upstroke to the open D string, and then 3rd finger, because we're on acoustic guitar and we won't be, I can't bend, I probably could bend it, but I don't want to break any strings right now. So what we'll do is we'll execute a slide, okay? So we'll start that slide on fret number 5, and then slide up to fret number 7 on the G. Okay? Okay, so now what we're going to do, geez, I'm not sure what time it is. How are we doing for time? Oh, maybe you can write it down for me once in a while and hold it up. How many, what's the remainder? That would be helpful. So I have an assistant over here. I'd turn the camera around, but maybe she wouldn't want me to do that right now. She's shaking her head yes, but I'm not going to do it anyway, okay? And I really appreciate it. She's awesome. Okay, very helpful. So we have this nice... really cool second part. Same chord progression, but just kind of framed up a little differently. So we have this nice, it's a D chord, kind of like we started with a D chord, but you know, it's that A. You know that tune, right? So it's kind of like that D chord that we would play for that song, but instead of using the 3rd finger, we get the 1st finger on the D, G, and B strings on fret number 7. 3rd finger reaches over. Go ahead and play that 9th fret on the A. Okay, so that's the chord we're looking for. It's basically a D chord with a 3rd in the bass. So with the D, which is do, re, mi, or 1, 2, 3, right? So we have this nice 3 in the bass, soften up the sound a little bit. Instead of playing the whole chord like I would if I had written the song. They do it a little differently. So they have this nice lick, a couple of approach notes, chromatic tones. Walk straight up from fret number 7 to 8 to 9 with down, up, down. And then an upstroke does that double stop on the 2 middle strings on fret number 7. Then we're shifting back from position number 7, first fingers on fret number 7. We're shifting back to position number 5. Finger number 2 picks up. Instead of doing that whole walk up, we'll just start with finger number 2 on fret number 6. Move up to 7 with the 3rd finger. And then 2 downstrokes in the 2 middle strings on fret number 5. And that's the C chord, right? You know? Right? And then we have that nice, another chromatic approach. Open, 1, 2. And then 2 upstrokes on the 2 middle strings open. And then we play we drop that low E string on fret number 3. So there it is. And then we go back to the first lick, first riff. And you can use different fingers if you'd like. Okay, so that's really cool. I wanted to thank you for watching. We can cover maybe one more section. I think we can squeak it in, but I wanted to remind you to subscribe to this channel. We're going to run a contest, and it's a race to get to 1,000 subscribers. So we definitely appreciate your help. Hit that subscribe button. And I think once we do that, I think we're not totally decided on the prize yet, but I think we may give away a guitar. So I'm not totally sure, and but if it is going to happen, it's a really cool guitar. It's sort of like a rocked out. I think it's a big old. It's a really cool guitar. I don't want to say the name of it yet, but I'm not sure that we're going to do that. If you guys have any other ideas, love to hear it. So anyway. Okay, so I'm not sure if we have time to do this. We could start it. So we're going to have, let's see, power chords, kind of like, you know, the Iron Man. Okay, so think that sound. It's got that nice, beefy, chunky sort of 2-note chord sound. Really dry, crispy. Sounds like a great time on the guitar. You know that sound? So finger 1 on fret 5 on the A string. Finger 3 moves up to fret number 7 on the D string. And we'll use that 4th finger to reach up to fret number 9. Down, 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 up, or down, down. Probably an upstroke at the end there. Down, 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 up, down, 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 up. Same thing for the C chord, down 2 frets. So that happens at sort of a weird time, because we have to move from this shape right here on that G5 when we add that 6 on there to get back to that 1st fret lick, okay? That 1st fret lick is exactly this. Starting on, it's so bluesy, right? It's such a bluesy lick, right? So we've got finger number 1 on fret number 1, hammer on to fret 2 on the A, open D, fret 2 on the D, and then pull off on the D to back to the open, and then 3rd finger on fret number 3 And I think you can watch my right hand. It's down, up. No, it's hammer on. Down, skip, down, up, pull, and then up. Okay, so you can rewind that if you want. Yeah, so that's it. There's that one little lick. And it's just a forward roll. Starting on the open D, hammer on to fret number 2, and then upstroke on the open G, and you repeat that ad nauseum. Right? 1 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1, 2, 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3 and 4, and 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1, 2, 3 and 4, and 1. So it's fairly rhythmically complicated, but we sure are glad you watched today, and we're happy that you made it this far, and we hope to see you again every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We have a bunch of viewers in Australia, so we're going to try to do an alternative time for you, but we want to make sure that we're hitting that West Coast. We have a ton of viewers in Texas and a ton of viewers in California, and we definitely want to be there for you, and we want to be there for all of you. So we thought 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to give that a try for the next several weeks and see what happens. And don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to keep on picking. But before we go, anybody have any questions? I'm going to wait 7 seconds. If you can think of that question that you wanted to ask, now's a great time. Boy, that's I guess that's root beer. Usually I drink coffee or tea, Earl Grey, but tonight I put a little root beer in there, and it's pretty tasty. I get this lovely cup as a gift from one of my wonderful students. She's been playing guitar for a long time with me, and we just have the time of our lives. So if you have other requests too, like what do you want to do? We could probably fit 2 or 3 little songs in, maybe 1 or 2 good songs for the next live stream. If you have ideas, shoot them our way. We'd love to do them. We'd love to work with you, and I suppose that we'll get into a rhythm here over time. And once again, thanks for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Do we have any questions? Happy picking.